Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Enough channel. In this video we're going to do the round 12 preview for the 2026 NRL SuperCoach season. So the first of the big buy rounds coming up, so a good opportunity to make some moves, try and jump some ranks if you've got a strong 13 for this week. Remember, it is best 13 only, so you don't necessarily need to break the bank even to get 17 on field, or sorry, 18 if you include the flex. You can get away with having less than 18. It'll only be best 13, so whether they're on your bench, in the flex, wherever it may be. So in terms of the most popular trades this week, on the trading out list, number 1, Latrell Mitchell. I think this makes sense given that the back injury did reoccur. So he's not playing this week. He's not playing next week. You'd imagine he'd be right to go for round 14. But then if he is, he's going to miss 15 with Origin, round 16 with another bye, and then obviously round 18 again with Origin. So, yeah, it's $1 million is a lot to hold for that length of time. I think you can definitely make up for his scoring in those few games with a couple of options, given that there's a lot of money to work with. And number 2, Brandon Smith. So maybe people just hoping he would get up in time for this week. Has not. There is clearly a very popular hooking option, which I'm sure will pop up on the traded in list. Only affected by the fact that he's already made quite a bit of cash. And number 3, Jonah Pezzett. So a lot of people flipping this week. Pretty sure I'll know who's on the trade-in list. We'll talk about him in a minute. Teddy got called up to Origin, so people jumping off. I don't really think it affects Tedesco so much, given that he was already on the bye this week. And I think they have a bye in round 15 as well. No, round 18. So he was going to miss that one anyway. So probably the only game that he does miss moving forward is round 15. So it's one of those things. If you want to use 2 trades to trade him out, trade him back in, that's fine. But I think you can sort of treat him like he wasn't playing Origin and he'll just miss one game. Not too dissimilar to if he had a concussion, for example. So, and to be honest, I'm not sure who people would be trading in with Teddy at fullback, unless they've got him in the flex. That does open up some options. But yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not really seeing the Teddy trade out. Sasungi at number 5. So yeah, he's still injured. He should be back in round 15. So if you can get away with holding, I think the Raiders have a bye in round 16. So there is a possibility that he is, they've got clean bill of health right through to round 18. So, yeah, so obviously the sooner he can get back, the more beneficial he will be. Jerome Luai at number 6, trading out. So I think he sort of landed around where he started from. Maybe he was about 400k when people jumped on. But again, another 5/8 getting traded out. Tanner Boyd, unfortunately, injured, out for the season. He's going really well. He's going to be great for particularly the first sort of couple of big buy periods. But unfortunately, he has succumbed to injury. Fayamani, so on the chopping block, not going to play this week. Can definitely use his money. Trey Mooney, so the Knights miss out on round 12 and round 15. So he's definitely done a job for everyone. He's made 180k. So if you do want to move him on, I totally get it. I think I'm going to try and make a slightly different move though. And then Macassini at number 10. So still out with this injury. Yeah, I think he can go at this time. Traded in list this week at number 1, Tamari Martin, far and away the most popular. Obviously, dual position, the price is right. Um, I'm just very concerned about Luke Metcalf. There was a comment that he should be back sooner rather than later, just once he gets his match fitness back up to where they want it. And Tamari Martin, he's only played one game this season, so um, you could bring him in this week. He'll do a job for you. Don't get me wrong. If you're desperate for numbers and you're low on cash, and it's a half is the easiest spot to sort of plug someone in. Um, but there is the potential that he gets traded out next week, and you don't actually get any price rises out of him. So, sorry, not trade. He gets benched next week for Metcalf, and you don't get any price rises out of him. So, just something to be mindful of that potentially could occur. So, for that reason, I'm going to avoid. I've got a bit of a plan with my halves, which I might talk about when we do my team. Um, but yeah, not totally get it, but not for me this week. Ollie Pascoe at number 2. So he's already made 200k, but he's still got a massively negative break even. I say massively, 38, negative 38. So he's going to make money, but looks like he's got a big minute roll there. The coach obviously backs him in. The Titans offer obviously the nice buy coverage over the next couple of rounds. They do have a buy in round 15. If I scroll, oh no, sorry, they have the week off next week, but then they do cover around 15, 16. So I was thinking, who's the team I'm thinking of that has 15? I don't know. The Dragons, that's who it is. I always get those confused with the buys. But yeah, Ollie Pascoe, I think he's a great option just to keep making money. So if you wanted to bring him in for a Brandon Smith, for example, I think that's a nice play. At number 3, Jackson Ford. So sort of was ready to go on him last week. Then he got put back to the bench. There was a bit of chat. He was in the Origin picture. As it turned out, didn't make the Origin team, but Mitch Barnett did. So he's back to the starting role. You imagine he'll play big minutes. And obviously, if Barnett's playing for New South Wales, they may need Ford to pick up some slack through the coming weeks. So, yeah, he's expensive, but rightly so. He's a weapon. Get on board. Number 4, Herbie Farnworth. So probably a few people who haven't got the message yet that Herbie's going to miss tomorrow night. Well, yeah, tomorrow night. I'm going to post this tonight with hamstring tightness. So basically just taking the cautious approach. It's a long season. They have the bye next week too, so he will have 2 weeks off. But yeah, if you haven't got him, you just wait till round 14 to bring him in. Joe Tarpany at number 5. So as we just saw with Sasungi, the Raiders do have a pretty good bye schedule. They're probably a team that went under my radar, to be honest, until I just looked at that. One of the great things about doing these videos is I come up with ideas on the fly. Talking out loud helps sometimes. But yeah, he's been a little bit down. Obviously, you can see he's dropped 90k in value. But this is usually the period where he excels, given that there's sort of tired players coming back from Origin or replacement players coming in to cover those Origin guys. He's obviously no fear of playing Origin, given that he's a Kiwi through and through. So yeah, I do like the pick if you're looking for a front rower. Toby Couchman at number 6. Obviously, dual position is handy. His scoring is pretty good. It looks like Dean Young has sort of given the Couchman boys the keys to the forward pack there, which is great signs. So, yeah, I brought him in last week with Jackson Ford sort of being a bit questionable. I think if you didn't have either, I'd go Ford first. Obviously, he's more expensive. But I would go Couchman over Tarpany, although Couchman does have the buy in round 15. So they were the team I was thinking of before, just to be mindful of. So if you've got a Ryan Couchman, Toby, you've still got like Setu 2. Yeah, so they have the buy round 15, but they do cover round 18 as well, which is pretty handy if you can hold for that middle buy. Scotty Drinkwater at number 7. I guess a lot of people probably trading Teddy to Drinky. I've already got him, so I can't sort of begrudge anyone bringing him in. Yeah, I think Scotty Drinkwater's a fine option. Jack Bostock, I guess particularly with Herbie out, they may offer up a bit more early ball on the right side, attack that side a bit more with Oren. I think Oren Keeley's named to fill in the centres, so probably the right side's going to be where the attack is, which is good news for Bostock. So yep, bring him in. The Dolphins do cover 12, 15, and 18, those big buy rounds. But they do have the buy next week, and I think they may have another one tucked in there too. Um, no, they play 15, 16. So if you can cover around 13, Dolphins are great assets for the rest of the origin period. Jerome Hughes, so Storm looking back to form. Easy matchup this week against the Dogs, surely. Um, I guess just like the price is probably right too. Um, Again, it depends what your long term half strategy is. So, I think Jerome Hughes is fine if you want to bring him in. And then Ruben Garrick, centre wing, pretty expensive, um, but maybe an uptick in scoring. I think if you wanted to target a manly asset, I'd be looking at Falalo, the fullback. I think he's about 100k cheaper. And obviously, playing fullback means he gets a bit more attacking opportunity. Um, and also, Ruben Garrick won't have Olaquatu on his inside this week. So, um, probably not the pick I would go, but he is a proven super coach player. Um, so, you could probably do worse and bring in Ruben Garrick. So those are the most popular trade-ins and trade-outs. Um, in terms of the captaincy, I've already sorted it by the top 10%, a little bit organised for this video. But at number one, Jackson Ford, which I think, given that looks like he'll play big minutes and he's averaging 89 for the season, you can probably add a couple onto that, given that he come off the bench last week. Um, I think he's the safest captaincy option this week. Nathan Cleary at number two. So a lot of people just haven't changed their captaincy from last week, which is fine. Um, Farlungo. So I guess, again, given the Bulldogs struggles at the moment and the Storm finding a bit of form, it could be a game where he does fill up. So why not have a crack? Scotty Drinkwater, so plays in the last game of the round. Um, so it has been a little bit up and down with his scoring of late, but against an undermanned South team with a couple of Origin guys out, um, he could be in for a big one up there in Townsville. Number five, Herbie Farmworth. So he was probably going to be in my captaincy conversation. Obviously, a very popular VC at the moment, but again, people haven't made their final moves yet, so we'll disregard that. And then there's a fair bit of a drop off to the point of difference options. So Jermaine Asako against Canberra. So I'd probably have him as a VC option. I wouldn't back him in straight C, given the Raiders aren't the worst team going around. Ethan Sanders is one I did not expect to see in the top 10, particularly as captain, given that, again, they play the first game of the round. You can have a VC swing if you like it. But that's a strange one, I'll be honest. Toby Couchman at number 8. Probably has a solid enough base that you could just lock him in as a captaincy option. Although they play the third game of the week, so I guess maybe if you've got Farlungo, for example, as your VC, you could do that. Jerome Hughes, if you've got him, it makes sense to back him in. Ruben Garrick's there, so tomorrow, Martin, a few people backing him in, or for one game sample. Good luck to you. And then the VC options. So Teddy's still there from last week, no doubt. KP still there from last week. Latrell, people haven't done their trades yet. Lasardi's an interesting one against the Bulldogs. I don't hate it. Setu too is a pretty wild shout, if I'm being honest. Tom Chester's one that's interesting, but playing the last game of the round, can't really activate the loophole there. So in terms of my trades this week, I've already done the optimize thing. So the upgrade I want to make, and I haven't really been secretive about this, I want to get Tolte up to Jackson Ford. It is going to cost me 250k. And it's one of those things, if you have a look at my team, actually, I've got, if I include Ford, now we've got starting 13 because we don't have a 5/8. And then I've got a couple of guys on the bench. So Jackson Ford would actually give us a squad of 16. So I don't really feel like I need a playing option this week. But if we have a look at the break evens for like cheapies, you've got Joey Walsh, who's not going to get a look in until there's another injury in the halves there at Manly. Seagult's not going to change price this week, and also the positioning's not ideal. Cody Ramsey, I thought about it last week, but now he's out with concussion. Obviously, she'll be back in time for next round. So, but I'm not sure around how long the Nitawase and the like are out for. So, not keen on that. So it sort of leaves us in a situation with the only real option I've got, and I could do Fayamani or I could do Martin. Doesn't really matter because I've got Sasangi that can swing around. But that's to bring in young Jensen Taumapao. I should have learned how to say his name, given I couldn't say it on Monday. But yeah, that does allow us to do the Jackson Ford upgrade. And you never know, he could have a day out, score a couple of tries, and be a nice little point of difference for our team. So we'll make those two trades. As I said, tomorrow morning, I don't know about the long-term job security, so wasn't keen for that. I'm thinking the plan is eventually I want Jaden Campbell to slot into the 5/8 spot, given that he is playing 5/8. He won't get the dual position because obviously the dual positions have just been updated. He was one game short of getting it now, but he should get it in time for round 18. The only problem with that is I do want to get Nico Hines into the team next week, given the Sharks have that really nice bye run after this round. So there is the potential that I'm trading out Nathan Cleary during the Origin period, which is not my usual go. But, given that he's got quite a lot of money on his head currently, if we have a look at the run, he's got the Warriors, Tigers for the next couple of rounds, which I think he'll back up and play. But after Origin 2, they've got a couple of games at the Gold Coast and Townsville. So I have a sneaky feeling that given how well Penrith are going, he might get a rest in round 16. Given they do have a naturally built-in rest in round 19 with the bye. So there is the potential he doesn't actually rest and he does play these 4 games. But there is the potential that he plays 3 out of the next, 8 rounds or so. So whereas Nico Hines is going to play, I'm pretty sure it's 8 of the next 8 rounds. So, if you compare apples to apples there, I think Hines is going to outscore Cleary over that time. And by then I could sort of move Campbell out and then Pezzett will become Nathan Cleary on the flip side. So that's a long-term strategy anyway. Who knows if it's actually going to work. Obviously a long way to go, a lot of water to go under the bridge. But you got to have a plan and then hope it works out. So as I said, I've now got a squad of 17 this week, which is probably overkill, but it is what it is. We'll put Jackson Ford on field because he is our captain. So it gives us these 2 games to have a bit of a look at a vice captaincy shout. So out of the rest of the squad, I just realised I don't have Farnworth, so I'm back to 15, 16 this week, 13, 3 reserves. So that's fine. We can hold Herbie quite comfortably. The VC's landed on Jack Bostock, which I'll be honest, I don't hate, but he was in that top 10%. So, I could go Farlongo against the Bulldogs. He'd be the obvious choice, I suppose. But what I'm going to do is going to back in my man Jacob Preston. So put the VC on him. Hopefully he goes good on Friday night. If not, we've got Jackson Ford there, who we're very comfortable with as the straight C this week. Just going to swap Munster out, just make it easier for the loop, because Pezzett, we can put the captaincy on him anytime leading into the end of the week. So, that's the team going into week round 12 of the 2026 NRL SuperCoach season. So if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the SuperCoach content. Origin SuperCoach as well. Get on that if you're interested in following that, as well as all the other fantasy sports stuff. World Cup SuperCoach has kicked off. Hit the subscribe button. But other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.